Sweden, a nation known for its extremely weird pizzas and for occasionally invading the British Isles, today is also home to Paradox Interactive, a company that has created the game that we're playing today, which does not surprise me at all when I say that Sweden is extremely overpowered. With the Lions of the North, Sweden has gotten one of the most insane mission trees that we're going to be exploring today, and as you would imagine also has some of the best national ideas out of all nations starting off in the game. We literally start with 20% infantry combat ability, making our units literally 20% stronger, at least the infantry, than any other around us. And not only that, but our starting missions also allow us to very easily get independence from the Danes, because yes, in 1444, the Swedish kingdom is under a union with Denmark, a union that started a mere 50 years give or take ago, and which will end up with the Swedish literally eating everybody in Scandinavia. The plan for this campaign is, of course, to unify Scandinavia, and not only, we're going to be doing all of the Swedish missions, including assembly instructions needed, Lions of the North, Super Trooper, and Sweden is not overpowered. I'm going to make this into a 3 or 4 part campaign until we get all of these missions done, because this is literally the last time I'm playing as Sweden, in EU4 at least, and I want to give this campaign a proper farewell. That's why I'm also going to be explaining it a little bit more in detail, every single step that I'm doing in this campaign early on, so you guys can follow along if you like to have your own very successful campaign. As you would imagine, this starts with a proper distribution of privileges. Obviously, we're going to give out the +1 power privilege for all 3 of the estates, except we cannot give it for the Diplo, can we? Because we only have 25 or 26 starting crownlands. So what we're going to do is we're going to seize crownlands and still give it for the Diplo as well, meaning we start with basically no crownlands. We have increased autonomy by 0.30, which is really bad. So what are we going to do then? Well, we're not going to do anything else. No privileges, not even summoning the Diet. We want to keep our influence as low as possible, because after the independence war, whatever provinces we take will increase our crownlands, and the less influence we have, the more crownlands we get, which is why we don't summon the Diet, because that also increases our influence by 5%. The only exception to this would be giving out religious diplomats if we really are struggling with getting allies in the war against the Danes, but the reality is Sweden is so strong, you don't even need to have allies against the Danes. You can literally 1v1 them if you know what you're doing, and I'm going to teach you guys both ways. Guess it really does depend on what kind of rivals the Danes have, which basically impacts who would be willing to support your independence. In our case, that would be England. This is literally the easiest situation then, because the English would help us out massively with their fleet. Ships is the biggest issue in the independence war, which would allow us to get control of the Øresund Straits, or whatever they're called here, allowing us to move into the capital of Denmark and get the war score that we need to enforce our deal. So obviously we're gonna ask for independent support from the English. This means that we get 100% liberty desire, so we can do the support for Swedish independence mission. We have a few options. The first option allows every rival or enemy of Denmark, which has at least 0 opinion of Sweden, to support our independence, and I believe that would include the Poles, the Bohemians, etc. I don't really want to get all of these nations in the war, because that would be way too easy, and it might even end up with the Danes giving us independence. We don't want that to happen. We want the independence war to trigger, because if we just get the independence, then we have to wait for 5 years until the truce is over to actually attack and get the lands from the Danes and the Norwegians. And having the independence war means, in our case here, that we can easily win the war by getting the support from the English crown, at least the naval support from the English crown. We don't need their troops as much, so that means we can go for the Danes are no threat. We can win this war by our own, which is going to give us manpower recovery speed, war exhaustion reduction, and increased liberty desire. And if we win the independence war without any foreign support, then we will gain additional rewards. Another easy mission to do is employing a military advisor. Morale of armies or discipline would be perfect in our case, so we can go for that now quickly. We get General Johan Vasa available for duty. He will become the king of Sweden after we win the independence war, so this particular modifier expires in 1474. That means you have to win the war before 1474. We also want to recruit the Free Company. That will put us over the force limit, but our force limit is going to increase after we gain independence, so we're not worried about that, which will allow us to get the Elbrecht Rebellion mission done too. And support from the estates, we would have to give 2 extra privileges for at least 2 of the estates to get that mission done, or we can wait until the Stockholm bloodbath fires. I actually don't want to wait for that. I want to declare my independence war on the 11th of December. So I can give out some privileges that have less influence, like 5% influence. Say, for example, for the burghers, we could give patronage of the arts and indebted to the burghers, because these loans are 1%, meaning we only pay 0.25 interest for quite a few ducats, 300 ducats to be more precise. And let's go ahead and give the religious diplomats that I was talking about earlier, as well as clerical education. That should be enough to do support from the estates mission. We can take the burgher offer, which is going to give 10 galleys at 0% cost and 10% of the time. So that's a lot of galleys that we can make use of. That means if the English don't want to help us out with navies, it doesn't make much of a difference, because we're going to get our own fleet strong enough to fight against the Danish fleet. We can also take an offer from the Pope, or better yet, the clergy, which is going to give papal influence, and that's actually really underrated, because that means we can get blessed ruler, which will give 10% morale of armies, levy churches as well. We can even get papal legate. We get a lot of these unique interactions with the papacy that will help us out massively, manpower recovery speed, and so on. Honestly, out of all of these, this is probably the best one. Or we can just take none of that and just go for the flat out 20% prestige. Usually I would go for the prestige because it does give more morale of armies and a few other bonuses, but I'm going to take the burgher offer simply because I want to show you guys how to get rid of it. We will get the burgher decision. We do have the modifier debt with the burghers, and after we get the independence, we have to get rid of this modifier. So if you did go for this option or the papal option, whichever one, you have to get rid of the debt. I will show you in this video how to do that. Let's go ahead and merge all of our ships and bring them over to Stockholm. When the war begins, we want to wait until our galleys are finished building. We're also absolutely hemorrhaging money, and that's because we have a lot of fortifications. We're going to delete some of those. The one in Abo and the one in Viborg. We don't need any fortifications in Finland. But now we will get some afterwards, and when we do, we're going to build them in an area that controls, or at least has a zone of control over all of Finland, namely the province of Tavastland, which means it will protect every adjacent province around it, with the exception of Viborg, of course. One more thing I like doing is getting a spy network on Novgorod, because as soon as we get our independence, we will attack Novgorod. We want to do this before the Muscovites attack Novgorod, so that we can grab the city of Novgorod itself, which means we will prevent Russia from forming, making sure we don't have a massive Russia to the east that we have to deal with afterwards. Weaken them before they get strong is the tactic here. All right, we managed to get the free company, so we can do another mission. 10,000 manpower. We get increased liberty desire, and opinion of Denmark is changed by 50. Obviously, that's the right one to go. Make sure we assign Vasa in charge of our armies, and we're going to keep our mercenaries attached to the main army. We want to have one big blob moving around. The idea behind this is that we want to prevent Norway and Denmark from merging units, because then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to fight them. Now, guys, take note, if you do go for the option where you say you're going to fight by yourself and you get the fight for independence modifier, but then you bring in someone like we have, for example, the English, we will get a negative event which will remove this modifier and lower our prestige and legitimacy. So it pains me to do this, but I'm going to cancel the support from the English. We can handle the Danes by ourselves. They have allied the Brandenburgians, so it's not going to be an easy war. But here goes nothing. Declare the War of Independence. Union has ended. We got the worst leader in history. Take note, it's up to you, but you can get a 666 if you're willing to just restart as many times when you declare the independence of war. I'm going to go for this just to show you that RNG sometimes can be extremely bad. We get one stability back from declaring independence mission, and we also managed to get permanent claims on the region of Scania, which is going to be, of course, a part of the independence deal. Take note, you're not able to take any provinces in the independence war until you click the grant independence treaty option. After that, you're able to take as much land as you can, up to 100% war score. Now let's go ahead and push for the Norwegians. We really want to make sure that Norway does not merge its units with the Danish and the Brandenburgian army, which is fairly strong as well. And because we're fighting alone on the seas, we're going to get the galley compatibility doctrine, which should give us a little bit of a boost, because we do have, remember, 14 galleys once all of them finish building. I believe they're building in Osterbotten, so let's actually move our fleet over to Osterbotten. Reality is, guys, that if you're new to the game, I do recommend you get the help from the English. You get the help from whatever rivals the Danes have when that mission pops up, because it makes the war 10 times easier. I'm just doing this because otherwise I'm probably going to get bored in the campaign if I don't do a little bit of war early on. Now, in order to also make it a little bit more difficult for the Danes to take our provinces, we're going to set up the defensive edict in whatever provinces they're sieging down, namely Kalmar and Elfsborg, the only two that still have fortifications in them for now. And we're also actually going to rush for that army. If we manage to get there in time, we might even be able to wipe wipe out their entire army, which would be the optimal thing to do. Now, of course, it does depend on the dice rolls too. We started with the 7, which is actually not too bad. They have a 1 as the second. We have a 1 as the third. If we didn't get a 1, oh, we still did stack wipe them. Okay, fair enough. I was going to say they would have stack wiped them because we do have the 20% infantry combat ability, but apparently that is enough as it stands. So that means the Danes have 0 soldiers right now. We can just go ahead and carpet siege the southern parts in Scania. Take note, the Danes will be rebuilding their army. They have 10,000 manpower and they have money to hire mercenaries. So we need to be at an alert and be ready in case the Danes rush us whenever we're sieging down the province of Lund. We can keep a few units around to siege the rest of the provinces, but primarily focus on taking down Lund. We probably want to supplement our navy with a few extra ships, so I'm going to be building 3 more galleys. We're going over to 25 naval force limit, so we will be paying a little bit extra for this, but it is required if you're planning to get this independence by yourself. Norway decided they want to siege down my capital. Again, defensive edict in the capital, and whenever we're ready, we can march on to the Norwegian troops with our current army. Okay, we just got an insane air. Holy mother, that is crazy. It's also a good idea to get a spy network in the Danish lands once the war begins, as it will increase our siege ability a tiny bit, and we're also going to go for 1 stability for a variety of reasons. More stability makes your country way better, and more importantly, it allows our passive prosperity to start growing in our provinces, as long as we do not have devastation in these provinces, which unfortunately we have quite a lot of right now. Now, we do outnumber the Norwegians, but we also want to have a general to fight against them. We made our leader general. He's not the best one though. Better than nothing, I guess. I would have preferred a general that actually knew what he was doing, but good old Carl is going to take charge for now, isn't he? Hey, oh, okay. Again, what I was saying, look at that, boys. That extra 20 infantry combat ability makes such a massive difference as the Swedes. It's just unbelievable. We did wipe out their units, but we're going to focus on primarily sieging down Akehurst, as well as we're going to slowly carpet siege the rest of Norway too. We want to make sure we take all these lands for the war score. We only need 3,000 units to siege down Akehurst, so we're going to use the rest of our armies to start slowly sieging down the rest of their provinces. Siege down the ones that are not in the zone of control of the Trondelag fort first, and the ones that are in the control of the Trondelag last, because we will have to siege down this fortification to make sure we keep them under our control. Brandenburg also managed to make its way here. I have no clue how. I'm assuming they marched their way from Finland. I genuinely do not know, to be honest, because they definitely did not come from the south. This is going to be a little bit of a showdown now. Who's going to siege first? Is it us in Lund? Is it the Brandenburgians in Stockholm? Because I'm not going to abandon my sieges just yet. Come on, fall at 7%. If you fall at 7%, I'm going to make this all the way to 1821, the campaign. Okay, it didn't fall at 7%. So clearly the game doesn't want me to play to 1821. We're just going to play till we revoke the privilege as Swedish HRE Emperor, which is probably going to be around 1700 at least. So do expect a pretty sizable campaign as the Swedish boys. That being said, if we do get 5,000 likes on this video, I will be not only pushing the second part of the campaign a little bit faster, so prioritize this campaign, but I'm also going to make a new Norwegian run where we go to the New World and establish a Norwegian America, because Norway can actually colonize even before the Portuguese if you know what you're doing. There you go, we got Lund, perfect. So let's go ahead and push over into Brandenburg's part now. Also going to try and intercept with my smaller army the 2,000 Norwegians, which could pose a massive threat to us if we don't intercept them in time. There you go, that should be an easy stack wipe. Let's go into the south because the Danes decided they want to be sneaky boys and they're trying to take over Lund from us. All right, hopefully this is a stack wipe too. It is. Like I said, the Swedes really do have the strongest armies at the beginning of the campaign. It's not even any sort of a challenge compared to anyone else, but we will need to merge those 4,000 with the rest of the army if we are to defeat Denmark's units without issues. Also guys, if you want the save game, I'll make it available to anyone who wants it on my Discord. All you got to do is go on the Discord, read the rules, interact with the emoji to get the role so you can actually access the rest of the Discord, and then the save game is yours. Need the money? Yes, we do. You know me so well, game. I do indeed need some money. I also did not hire a Diplo and an admin advisor. For now, we got to fix our situation economically before we hire anybody, really. There you go. Let's go. Give me some great dice rolls, please. A 2 and a 3 and a 1. That is not great dice rolls. They got a 0, though, so that's pretty good. But if we did get dice rolls that were better than that, we would have stack wiped them. Reality is this game is very dice roll dependent and RNG. Now, before we start marching on around with our navy, we're going to get an admiral, and I'm going to name this after a friend friend and patron of mine, Hounducus, and he is absolutely trash. Oh my god. Why do I even bother? Why? What's the point of having an admiral if he's horrible? Now, the reality is they do outnumber us on the seas, okay? But we have way more galleys than the enemies have together, so we should still be fine. Plus, we want to try and go for the smaller stacks first. That means the 2-3 galleys we see here and there before we engage the big 18 ones that they got in the south. So there we go. We managed to wipe out those 2 ships. Let's go ahead and push for the ones in the Gulf of Vinland. If I was to push... Oh, that's bad. Oh no, this is really bad. They're pushing into mine. So we're absolutely crushing them. That is because they have only 8 galleys. We have 17. So that's a massive difference right there. They're basically fighting us with the transports and such. Ooh, we're starting to lose ships. Okay, that's not good. They did bring 3 heavy ships. That's the Norwegian heavy ships. Ooh, that's really not good at all. Okay, we're gonna back up, go into Stockholm. We did that because we did lose 1 galley, but they lost 6 ships. So that's a big difference. Okay, we technically won that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a couple more galleys now in Stockholm and the adjacent provinces, and we're gonna wait until our ships have fully recovered their strength, and then we're gonna rinse and repeat, do again the same thing, attack the smaller, weaker ships and push in for the bigger ones afterwards. If you see that you start losing ships because you don't have the morale or you just don't have the ship strength, withdraw, take small wins like that and withdraw and come back afterwards. It really makes a massive difference in wars like these. I know it might seem like very intuitive stuff. I'm assuming you've been playing the game for a while. I've got 12,000 hours in this game, so I understand that, but there's a lot of newer people out there that don't really even get the basic stuff like this. So, oh no, Norway, they're getting attacked. That's unfortunate. That's actually really, really unfortunate. Oh, I'm not happy about that. I really want to get into Novgorod before the Muscovites get there. So I need to finish this war fast. I mean, fast. Reality is that it's more important getting Novgorod than it is getting Danish lands right now. Could I actually just enforce with what I have right now? I could get Scania and all that, but I wouldn't get everything though. I would like to get a big chunk of Norway too. So what I'm doing now is I'm sending 1,000 units to siege down Trondelag. I'm not obviously going to siege it. I'm just keeping the unit there so it prevents that particular fort from reverting control of the adjacent provinces to it. And in the meanwhile, we're pushing back down into Lund to get more war score against the Danes. And we're also going to get even more war score by taking out their ships wherever we see them again. Heck, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and see if I can actually get control of Orsund. I can get control of Orsund. Okay, so the reality is they also have to fix their ships after the battle with me, and their ships are a little bit disunited right now. So it does give me the ability to siege this down, which means we get a lot more war score now. This would be a very optimal war deal for me because it means I don't need to worry about the fort that the Norwegians have in the next war against them. So that's 119, 118. It means we cannot take anything else. If we were to push for a few more years, we could take 2 more provinces, maybe even the money. But sometimes you need to know when to peace out, earlier rather than later. So we're going to do this, and that means we get permanent claims now on a lot of provinces, and we also make Johan Vasa lead Sweden. That is a 644 leader that we got instead of the 03 whatever Schnitzeldorf we had before. And it also means that we now have, if we go to the map, a lot of permanent claims. All of the Livonian Older, all of Pomerania, half of Novgorod is our claims. Of course, we're going to be attacking Novgorod right away. Let's go and make sure we bring our troops by the border with Novgorod. We want to take as much as possible out of their provinces because right now they're just getting their asses handed to them by the Muscovites. And look at this. Fight for Independence event is removed from Sweden, but we get a lot of bonuses. Remember, this is because we did not ask any other nations to help us out. If we were to keep the English on our side, we would not have gotten this event. So this is 100% worth it. Especially the Splendor means that we're much closer now towards getting our first age ability. Now let's also get our rivals. Of course, Denmark would be number 1, Livonian Order 2, and Novgorod. Classic Swedish rivals. So also make sure we lowered the war exhaustion so it's not more expensive to core up the provinces we just got, and of course core up everything we have. Apparently Scania is going to take a little bit longer because we don't have enough admin points for now. But if we weren't to declare the independence war solo, we would not even have the admin points to core what we have so far. Remember that. Also take note, Sweden starts with a lot of autonomy in the northern provinces. I'm talking 100% autonomy, which means that you're basically getting nothing out of these lands. So do make sure you lower your autonomy after the independence war everywhere, but more importantly lower it in the Finnish lands, northern Finland and northern Sweden. We also got a lot of accumulated autonomy from the estates debuff, but after the war we got 9.2 crownlands, so we're way better than before. We literally gained 8% crownlands. It hasn't even been 5 years. We still need to wait for 2 more years before we can seize 5% crownlands. We got the independence, we got half of Scandinavia in just 3 years or 2 years. We also want to get some allies. I actually think Poland is a great ally for us, and even England would be a really good ally. Unfortunately, they have a neutral attitude towards us, so we're gonna have to improve relations with them a little bit. Also make sure we get our diplomat back from the Danes, and we get a claim on Shealand itself. Yeah, this alliance from Scotland is literally bait. They're gonna be pulling us into their war with England. We do not want to be fighting that. We also want to get a little bit of power projection, so we're gonna be scornfully insulting our rivals here in Livonia, and we're also gonna be issuing embargoes against all of our rivals if we can. Of course, you cannot do that if you have a truce with them, and in the case of Novgorod, we don't want to do that because we just want to flat out attack them right now. Let's set Novgorod as the war target, but I kind of feel like I might not be able to actually get Novgorod. Let's see. Make sure the northern troops siege down Kola, White Karelia, all the northern provinces. If they are under our control, the Muscovites obviously cannot annex them in their peace deal. So this is basically a rush to who can control more provinces before the other one does. There we go, boys. The war target is under our gaze right now. We are the ones that took charge of the siege of Novgorod, so whatever Muscovy does is not important because they are not going to be getting control of Novgorod ever. And because we got Neva also under our siege, it means that at least we get these 2 provinces confirmed, which in turn means they will never be able to form Russia. Devastation in the adjacent provinces to Trondelag is down to 0 because of the friendly fort in Trondelag, so we're going to be deleting this fortification. It is a mountain fort, but it is really not required. Similarly, the one in Finnmark is also not required whatsoever. If we want to have a fort in the north, either Jokkmokk or Inari would be way better since it protects all the adjacent provinces, whilst Finnmark does not protect anything except Inari and Halagaland. And I guess Kola, but we don't really own that now, do we? Unfortunately for us, the Muscovites actually took province of Kola. I don't know if they'll be able to take this or if they want to take that, but it does suck because our borders are going to look absolutely disgusting now until we attack the Muscovites to take Kola from them. The bright side though, we are the first ones to go for military tech 4, which means we got 4 innovativeness because we were the first, and it also means that our troops are significantly better than Muscovy's troops right now, if you know what I mean. The reason I also said that you should get some power projection is not only because you get +1 power from going above 50 power projection, but the bonuses from power projection are also pretty significant. A lot of people sleep on this. That morale of armies, the global trade power really makes a massive difference, especially early on when it's really difficult to get bonuses for these particular modifiers in general. So you guys, I got all the little hints for you. That is not for no reason why I play this game for 12,000 hours, okay? It could be because I got no social life and I'm just a cave dweller, but there's more to it than just that, all right? Clearly. Also, make sure we make full cores out of the Norwegian parts, which are rightful Swedish clay, of course. Novgorod has fallen. We have 67% war score, so we could take pretty much all of this. I am going to wait a little bit, though, because we just got the war goal, so after a while has passed, we get 25% more war score, which means we really could take all of these provinces. And I'm also kind of hopeful that Russia pieces out and does not take Kola, so I could take it. Oh, come on. Really, Novgorod? They freaking unconditionally surrendered. That's horrible. They did that. It means that I have to peace out, or I'm going to get the call to peace modifier, which increases my war exhaustion by a ton. We just finished coring up all of Scania, so that means we now have more claims on Osterland, Vosterland, Trondelag. That basically means all of Norway, or we could also just claim the Norwegian crown. Obviously, it's better to just directly annex all of that stuff. And that being said, we have a few options for Scania. We can either change the culture in Scania to Swedish, lower the separatism and autonomy in that area too, and that makes Denmark a historical rival, and we get some separatists too, or we get 1 stability and we let them be Danish. Oh no, I misclicked, guys. That's totally not what I wanted to do. Misclickius Maximus. No, seriously though, make them Swedish. Now, I have been very patient, but Russia is not piecing out at all. So I'm gonna go for 100% war score because they unconditionally surrendered. I can go for that. That means we take a little bit of money alongside the fact that we took the best provinces of Novgorod, leaving the Russians with the worst provinces, clearly. We can also concentrate development. That's going to make it cheaper for us to core up these provinces, as well as it increases the development in Stockholm, so I'm actually kind of okay with that. Let's also go ahead and lower the war exhaustion before we core up all the provinces we took, and the extra money we we got from them, we can pay off the 4% loans that we got after the war. Now, Novgorod still exists. Color me surprised, but the Muscovites left them alive in the province of Kola. Well, hell. Guess I can take that as good news, right? Now, we can get a new rival. I will be going for the Teutons because I got this feeling the Poles might help me out. Nope, I'm wrong. They're not gonna help me out. How about against Novgorod? Are you serious? You're gonna help me against freaking Russia, but not against... Dude, I should have made Muscovy my rival. I should have checked this before. So I could actually attack Muscovy next and take the provinces that I couldn't take from Novgorod, preventing Muscovy from really snowballing the way they normally snowball. So I might do that. Let's see. I also want to attack the Livonians to complete my missions. And I also want to attack Gotland because they're a pirate republic scum. And we also have a core on this province. We might as well get our core back. I'm going to scornfully insult them too, simply because I want those relations to go down. And let's get back our diplomats, get a spy network in Muscovy, and also let's get one of our diplomats improving our favors with Poland. So that way currying favors means that we will eventually be able to get 10 favors, and we can use those to attack the Teutons also, not only the Muscovites together with the Poles. Oh man, I wish I didn't delete the fort now. Why do they have to spawn in Trondalag? The irony. Okay, now we can actually lower autonomy in all the other provinces, which is huge. And let's not forget, once we deal with the Trondalag rebels, we can also seize 5% more crownlands from our estates as well. And because we did have such low influence, we got 13% crownlands without seizing a single percentage from anyone. It could have honestly been even better if we didn't give out the privileges, but I mean, it is what it is. Have a castle in Trondalag. Oh, come on. Why you have to rub it in on me here, game? Why you gotta do that, huh? Let's make sure we murder some separatistas. And check it out, boys. We're back up to 18% crownlands despite giving the +1 power privilege for all three of these states, and despite the fact that we started with 26% crownlands, not even 30% like majority of countries, okay? So when I see you guys in the comment section going, "Oh, Ludi, but it's not possible to get back after, bro. I always struggle." Brother, listen to me. I know what I'm saying, okay? You got this. Trust me, you freaking got this, bro. You freaking got this. Now, we will be deleting some of these fortifications next, and of course, canceling the edicts here too. We will switch this one to protect trade edict, however, in Stockholm, because Stockholm does have quite a bit of trade power. And we're going to keep temporarily the fortification in Scania, since it prevents anybody marching into our entire country from the southern parts. Problem with the Scania fortification is that it is in a farmland province, so it is very easy to take. So this is basically a temporary stop, making sure that we can meet whatever army invades from the south with our army before they start marching into the rest of the country. Also, Livonians are not a valid rival anymore, so we can actually get Muscovy as a rival now. I'm also going to be fishing for some more allies. Like I said earlier, the English would be a perfect ally, but they are in the 100 Years' War, so I'm going to wait until they finish that war, then going to get the alliance afterwards, and maybe even Brandenburg or Bohemia would not be the worst idea, actually. They're attacking Brandenburg right now, so I guess Brandenburg would not be on board. They would still be on board with the alliance. Oh my god, they're desperate right now, aren't they? Because I would love to get my hands on the emperorship, so allying electors is the way to do this. Basically, ally them, improve relations with them, and make sure that eventually they vote for us as the next Cherry Emperor. Hey, we got the last jousting tournament, so our armies are basically ready to attack Muscovy is what that means. Would the Poles still be able to help me? They would. But of course, first we're going to make that little detour where we attack Gotland and make sure we take our core back. Plus, this is a pirate nation. We don't want pirates in the Baltic now, do we? I'm not really able to afford all the advisors right now, so we're only keeping the military advisor, which is fine. We can still handle. That's a lot of mana points we're generating because of King Johann Vasa. But what we're doing now is also focusing on admin, since we have used a lot of admin for coring provinces and we're still behind admin. We're not even able to get admin tech 4, and we already have almost military tech 5, so we obviously don't mind pulling some of the mana points into the admin power pool. A traveling minster, exactly what we needed right now. Losing 25 government reform is not, however, what we needed right now. And there you go, boys. We got the first elector to vote for us, Bohemia, as I like to call them. So now we're going to improve with the other electors that we allied right now. Hey, we can get Diplotech 4, hells to the enemies. We got the marketplaces now, and we also can piece out finally the Gutlands, which is awesome because we also got 0 autonomy in this province since it is a core province of ours. That being said, after the devastation goes down to 0, we will be deleting the fort in Gotland. It is really not a very much a required fort at all. For the next few years, we're just basically gonna chill, recover our economy, build up so we get ready for the next war with the Danes and the Norwegians. And we do have a lot of rebels. I don't normally show this, but I'm just showing showing you guys, we have separatists in the north, separatists in the south, separatists in the other south. This is part of the stuff that you have to deal with in the peacetime, in between your wars. There you go, even more separatists. The bright side, we are the first ones to get military tech 5, which means we got better units than Western European nations. It did take a while, but we dealt with all of the rebels, so now we can summon the diet, go for whichever agenda best suits us. In our case, getting a little bit of manpower development in Aland is really not that bad of an idea. There we go. That means we got some loyalty with the nobility, but we still will be getting rebels when we seize Crownlands. And of course, they're going to be in freaking Gotland, the most difficult area to access. That being said, we can give the rest of the privileges out now. So we're going to go for increased levies, which increases the amount of manpower we get, nobility in the office of court to make our generals cheaper and to also decay our army tradition a little bit slower, supremacy over the crown just so we get the extra loyalty equilibrium for all three of the estates, burgher financial demand and economic freedom for the burghers, enforce unity of faith because we have a lot of orthodox provinces that we need to convert, so that way we have a bit of an easier time converting them, and that way we have above 50 loyalty equilibrium with everything except the burghers. So for the burghers, we can give commercial advisory board as our final privilege, and I probably shouldn't forget the private trade fleet since we want the extra ship trade power for our light ships. That does mean we went above 100 influence with the burgher, so it will start triggering the plutocratic crew. What we want to do to prevent that is either increase our loyalty or lower the burgher influence, which right now is artificially inflated, so it should go down in roughly 10 years anyway by itself. We also can do an easy mission here by setting centralization efforts in these two particular states, namely Novgorod and South Karelia. That way we get Novgorodian as an accepted culture, and Novgorod changes the name to Holmgolard. It increases the center of trade to level 2. The religion changes to Catholic without us having to convert it, and more importantly, we get permanent claims on a lot of Muscovite lands as well. This is a reference to the fact that the Scandinavians are the ones that technically established Russia, and they're just reclaiming back the old Viking settlements in the Rus, which is a Viking word for men that row, by the way. Yeah, the origin here is the Russians are basically Vikings that came here and mixed, let's call it mixed with the local Slav. Nodeburg also becomes Catholic, but Hilmgarder, remember, is a 17 development province, so that's actually a pretty big one for us. If we manage to get Muscovy 2, we will get until the end of the game max promoted cultures +2, which is a huge deal as well. Alright boys, we got 2 of the electors voting for us now. If we manage to get the Palatinate to change their opinion, then we will be the next top model of the HRE. Alright, I'm also going to be selling some titles just so I get a little bit of money. It means we're below 20% crownlands, but it's not the end of the world. That way we also can repay the debt to the burghers. However, remember that means we increase the lands of the burghers by 10%. That is not good. That is really, really not good. That being said, seeing as we are going to take lands from Muscovy in this war, it's fine. It's not the end of the world if we do lose a little bit more crownlands. We'll get it back after this war. Considering we have very high influence with the estates, we're not going to get as much as before, but mix that in with the fact that we're going to be seizing crownlands also right after the Muscovite war. We should be back to at least 15% crownlands, which should be enough. See, that's the thing. I always think about these things 10 steps ahead of time, just so I'm ready for whatever happens. That's really how you should be playing your games as well. We're going to set the war target as Moscow, and we're going to call in Zapol. Let's go. It's not going to be an easy war. Apparently we can call in more nations though. We can call in Köln for 10 favors. Sure, that's fine. I will ask the Poles to focus on the Teutons first. I would like to get the Teutons out of the war, so I'm going to assign objectives for Poland and Lithuania to focus on this area first and foremost. The tactic with Muscovy is to just go for the smaller vassal stacks before engaging the actual Muscovite army, which right now is 20,000 strong, so it's not as strong as it would be if it had managed to get control over Novgorod. Of course, classic AI does everything at once and completely ignores all of my orders. Why would it ever listen to me, right? Why not just send half your army to get stack wiped by Muscovy, Lithuania? Why not do that, huh? The Muscovites are still very dangerous, so we want to make sure we keep our units close to one another so we can reinforce the other army if need be. Basically, do what I do. Do not do what Lithuania was doing 2 seconds ago. These small little stacks like the one Belusra had is exactly what I'm saying, guys. They might not win the war, but they definitely will contribute to it massively. These bigger battles is likely what will win you the war, however, because these bigger battles not only bring war score, but they also make sure the enemy takes a while to recover from the battle, which gives you time to siege down their provinces and destroy their economy in the process. Now, this is an actual big win, boys. They're back down to 20,000. They were at 35,000 at one point. They really went full on in this war. Charles Gustavus event allows us to lower the autonomy in all of our provinces by 10%, get some ducats, or 1 stability. Stability is massive, but the lowered autonomy is huge, especially for the northern provinces, which have pretty high autonomy. That is a big deal. It's just flat out full on money for us. All right, we actually managed to catch up with our admin. We are even down to our first idea set. Now, what you go for as your first idea set really determines the rest of the campaign, so pay close attention here. We have, of course, a few options. If we want to go more militaristic or just want to go down the, let's say, historical, strong, overpowered Sweden path, then we can do quality ideas, which gives 15 combat ability. And if we mix this in with innovative, the policy between the two of them gives an extra 15% combat ability. So that's going to be 45% infantry combat ability from these two ideas, which is pretty crazy. And it's a little bit more of an RP sort of thing, because realistically, you don't need that much infantry combat ability when you fight AI in single player. It's so easy to wipe out everybody left and right in single player. It's just pointless, but it is one aspect. Second one, you could go for trade ideas, which would really double down on your economy. And honestly, for me, I'm going to go for quality and then either trade or innovative next, because quality with trade also gives an extra 15% trade efficiency. So quality, trade as your first two is really not the worst idea. Since we're also very high ahead of tech, we're going to use the mana points we got to get the ideas. So we are already sitting at a cool 30% infantry combat ability from the 1460s. Our infantry is literally 30% stronger than any other out there. Now, as for the Teutons, I'm going to cancel their alliance with the Livonians and Muscovy, and I'm going to humiliate them just so I get a little bit of power projection, and more importantly, so I do my age objective here, humiliate a rival. Alright, boys, we basically grinded down the enemy army to a standstill. They got 1,000 manpower left and 10,000 standing army, which is mostly mercenaries, and pretty much that's it. The rest of their vassals barely have any units. Look at the difference here. We grinded 86,000 of their troops, and they only grinded 123,000 of ours. I know what you're thinking, Ludi, those numbers are bad for you because you lost about 50% more troops. Okay, but shut up, brother, okay? Look at this. It's only 40,000 of ours. We made the Poles and the Lithuanians do most of the hard work, okay? Come on. That's how you win effectively in this game. In any case, that does mean we can go for 100% enforcement of deal here because they're basically completely defeated. So that is a lot of aggressive expansion, but it's only Muscovy and Novgorod that would care about it, since these are, after all, Russian Orthodox provinces. So that means most of Europe, which is Catholic and definitely not Russian, doesn't give a single schnitzel about it. So now we've literally doubled in size, and not only that, but we also managed to get a hold of Muscovy, so we can do the city of the Rus once we've lowered the autonomy there, made it a core, and yada yada etc. Taking Muscovy also means we've completely wiped out Muscovy, since they will never be able to economically recover from this. So I do fully expect Kazan and Great Horde to wipe out what's left of them. Hey, we also just became a great power. That's awesome. We are the 6th great power for that matter. Crownlands wise, we also managed to get up to 13% after seizing crownlands and gathering provinces from Russia too. So we're not at 15%, but we're close to it. We could get a little bit more by developing provinces though, because every single development click gives us 0.2 crownlands. So I just realized that I actually would be able to diplomatically vassalize the Teutons if I ally them and I increase the trust with me a little bit. Then they should be on board with it. That's why I started guaranteeing their independence, improving relations. Once I'm at peace, I'm also going to get the alliance so I can start currying favors and get that trust up so I can eventually vassalize them. That way we can feed them back all of the Teutonic lands from my current ally of Poland. Now we're also ready to start the conquest of the Danish and Norwegian lands. I'm going to call in Köln so they can be my punching bag. That way the enemy alliance can focus on Köln. And also after a mere 500 days, we managed to get rid of what's left of Novgorod. Oh hey, we're getting a whole 5 ducats from them. Wow, I am so rich right now, it's crazy. There goes the Norwegian neighborhood. could, I'm also going to be taking out as many of the Verdunian and Hanseatic ships as I can, just in case they have the idea at some point of merging together. We don't want to let them do that. Plus, we are also capturing some ships, so we're literally gaining ships without having to build or pay for them. Come on, Denmark, give me at least 2 ships. Exactly 2 ships they gave me, and let's see how many we're going to get from Lübeck. Now, the trick with these newly captured ships, honestly, is to just make sure that you don't lose them by setting them aside, because they're going to have less durability than the actual ships that you're using normally, and keeping them in port for a little while, just until they recover their strength fully. Also, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I went ahead and I culturally converted all of the other provinces that I could. Basically converted all the Sami people, all the Finnish people, because they're all 3 developments, so it's only 22 diplomatic power to convert these to my culture. I did this early on when everybody is 3 development, because afterwards I will start developing my provinces, and if they are my primary culture, I don't need to worry about separatists ever again, or about having to accept other cultures that are non-Swedish, right? So why not do it now if I have the power to, right? We're doing the same in Nyland and in Viborg, of course, and we're going to do the same to all the other provinces. Whenever the separatism disappears, we're going to make sure that they all speak Swedish. I love getting these kind of events. They are literally the worst thing ever. I hate them. I freaking hate them. Okay, you got the truth from me. I absolutely despise these corruption events. I've been getting so many of them lately. I don't know why, bro. Is it because I'm Romanian? What's up with this? My France campaign as well, full of corruption events. What the schnitzel? Since we've taken Sheelan, their fleet is going to be gone in a second, but more importantly, we're going to be able to trap their units here. Once we have control of Finn, which we just got, they cannot withdraw their army anywhere. So once we win this battle, even if we don't stack wipe them, oh, what happened? Oh my god, that's so unfortunate. My game just crashed right as my 40-year-old king died. Why did he die at 40? Explain that to me. Huh? Why? Whoa, what do you know? What amazing luck we had that we could reload the game before the king died. That's just 100% luck right there. And as I was saying, we're going to be able to stack wipe this army even if we don't actually stack wipe them, because they don't have anywhere to withdraw their army to. They automatically get stack wiped. So Denmark has no more soldiers now. We do have to make a little bit of a short trip over to Russia, because apparently everyone and their mama rebelled, so we have to deal with this before it's going to be a little bit more difficult afterwards to deal with. I also did this in order to bait the enemy units to arrive into the islands, because that way when I get back to the islands, they're not going to be able to escape and I'm going to be able to stack wipe them. Boom, mother schnitzel, ya gonna say, ya god gone, bruh. That's a Swedish accent, in case you're wondering what I just did there. I actually can peace out the Lubeckians, and I have a little bit of war score too. Just gonna get a little bit of money, because we do need to pay off our loans though. We are pretty low on manpower, sadly, so we will have to rely on mercenaries. Let's go ahead and get a loan, and we're gonna hire the Free Company in Finn, because we need to quickly push back the Danes and the small Verdun army that's making a lot of fuss, really. There we go, boys. Now we like what's happening, because now there's no more armies. It's only us and the sea and Verdun, which is going to get sieged in a few seconds, which means they're going to be okay with piecing out. It would appear as if the Danes are okay with my peace deal, which is quite literally to annex Norway. That's it. We're not taking a single province from Denmark. I know what some of you thinking, Ludi, would have been better if you just got the PU. Sure, would have been better. I just like to get direct control over the provinces. From every single aspect imaginable, it is actually better. Instead of having to wait for literally 50 years before I can start integrating 25 development or whatever was left in Norway. Come on. That means we can do 2 missions now. Stabilize the kingdom. Yeah, no, I'm going to go for the Restoration of Union. Now, to get the Restoration, actually, we need to do this mission, the Kingdom of Poland. The previous one basically decides what this mission gives us. Crown of Norway also will give us some bonuses and more permanent claims on, you guessed it, Denmark. So the next target is fully annexing Denmark, obviously. Then that leads to the fall of Denmark, which gives even more bonuses and such. We just need to have 3 light ships in Bergenhus, and then we have a colonist and explorer, boys. We literally can explore the new world by having 3 light ships in this one province. That's crazy. That's literally crazy. That's also why I push for Norway. We got Ireland over here, so that means we can easily access the new world from there. Also, the plutocratic crew is losing 1 progress every month now because we have below 100 influence. All right, well, we got a few more than 3 light ships now, so let's go ahead and do that mission I was talking about for so long. Boom shakalaka, we got got a colonist settler increase plus 15, another plus 20 from repressing people, and more importantly, we got that juicy explorer. So let's assign him to 3 light ships. And these 3 light ships, we're going to be exploring the North Atlantic so we can establish the good old colony of Vinland, which translated to English means land of weebs. By the way, we get an extra colonist when we establish a colony in Canada or Eastern America. Considering we're going to do some colonization, I am going to go for the colony development boost, which means my colonies will start with 3 extra development. Holy mother of God, we're getting 0.46 ducats from Scania and 0.39 from Dalaskogan alone from building a workshop. That is insane. Also, Dalaskogan has the Falun copper mine, which gives us plus 9 local goods produced at level 3 and minus 20% artillery cost. This is massive. First off, the artillery cost means we're going to pay significantly less than everybody in the world forever, and 9 goods produced is the equivalent of 45 production development of copper, which also goes up in price as we go in the campaign. So that's a ton of money we're getting from Dalaskogan alone. I'm actually going to assign my colonists to promote settler growth in this province until we're going to actually use them in the new world. Remember that assigning him here means that we will increase the development of this province. There's a chance that the development is going to increase every year, random amount. I don't know if it's actually going to go up or not, but better than not having him assigned, right? Okay, I got some questions right now. Why is the aggressiveness of the natives in Newfoundland basically 0, but historically the Vikings got slaughtered in Newfoundland? What happened there? What exactly happened? Who is at fault here? I need an official explanation right now. All right, boys, after months of hard work, we managed to get our trust a little bit back up, and we also got some extra Diplo reputation. Mostly the Diplo rep helped us mostly, to be fair, but we managed to get our diplomatic vassal, so now whenever we're ready for it, we can get back the Teutonic lands at the cheap cost of nothing. Why do I say that? Because I've been currying favors with the Poles as well, so I'm going to be able to use my Polish favors to return the cores of the Teutons. Alright, boys, we're back to getting majority of the votes in the HRE. Problem is, I don't know when the HRE Emperor is dying. This mofo has not died. I don't think if he's ever going to be dying. He's the oldest scumbag in the world. Look at this. He's literally 68 freaking years old. Come on. Hi. Oh, wait. He did die. They already elected the son who's 14? No! I'm gonna wait till the end of time for this dude to die. Please have a hunting accident. Alright guys, we're gonna go for our second age ability, which is gonna be improved war taxes, just because I can get a little bit of extra money when I'm at war. And of course, we're gonna start our golden era, since we also have unlocked our second idea set, which is of course trade ideas, because we want to have a good economy before we go for innovative, just for the LARP of having the strongest armies around. Plus, I don't want to go innovative now because that takes up admin points, and we want to use our admin points for other things. We're also doing fairly okay economically. We're actually getting 3 advisors and we're still making 12 ducats, so it's really not that bad anymore. And we're still top dog for becoming the next emperor, so fingers crossed homie who's 15 now passes away at some point. I'm praying for the accidents here. Now we just got access to cannons too, so we can modernize our units and actually get 4 cannon artillery pieces. Great news, our first colony has finished, so now we can continue to explore the new world even more. Plus, we're gonna send some units here. It's time to have a good chat with the natives, if you know what I'm saying. We're gonna murder everyone. That's exactly what I'm saying. Getting a 3rd merchant for us is absolutely massive, boys. As is getting all that extra juicy trade power in the Lubeck node by basically annexing the Danes. So let's go ahead and call in our allies. Booyah Scooby-Doos. This was a fairly easy war. We won, and it means we can also do the peace deal, get a little bit of monies as well. Coalition-wise, we will actually be getting a little bit of a coalition, so I'm going to do this at the end of the last month. That way we know for sure that it's going to reset very easily, and we're going to get less nations that would be super pissed off with us. Let's go, boys, and let's see how many nations actually hate our guts now. It's not that bad. It's basically all of Pomerania and the northern parts of Germany. I think I can handle. That's the beauty of splitting aggressive expansion between different culture groups and different religions, namely attacking the Russians and the Germans one after the other. We're also loan free for the first time in a very long time, so we can get a few bonuses to our economy now, as well as because our navy is big enough enough, we get some ship trade power propagation for a few years. That should actually come in massive handy. Speaking of, I really want to build up more ships and start replacing my predominantly galley fleet with predominantly light ship fleet, because we don't really have many nations that actually can contest us in the Baltic anymore. Also, speaking of contesting, let's start getting our claims back from the Poles. Return Macoria, scumbags! That's the first one I need. Now it's called even worse. Now it's Karaliol. Wait a second. The Teutons are Teuton. Oh my god, they flipped to Lithuanian as their primary color. I'm not even sure what even is the real world anymore. That's why the name is in a Lithuanian, and they don't even accept Russian. The irony is real, guys. The irony is so real right now. I probably should have gone for Gdansk first, which is a massive trade province. I don't know why I didn't do that. Clearly because not smart enough. Gonna wait for 1 month so I can get to 54 and get Gdansk. Hold up a second. When the hell did Tver become independent? Oh, okay, interesting. Well, that's a free province for us to go after. Do believe that Poland is the one to blame for that, isn't it? Because they do have a truce with the Poles as well since... Okay, so this happened a few years ago. I guess the Poles and the Russians were at war when I didn't even pay attention to it. Oh my god, a great threat to Europe. The Ottomans almost border me. They've been expanding so much, it's crazy. This is the bad timeline, okay? I'm saying it. This is the bad timeline. The Ottomans are close to me, as well as they are literally at the gates of Vienna in the 1400s. Oh, this is so bad right now. Christendom is under attack. What are we gonna do? Probably fight each other some more. We've really been doubling down on our economy, boys. We've been making full cores out of the Danish lands. We've been lowering autonomy. I've also been upgrading the centers of trade here, and I've even been expanding infrastructure, so that way we get a lot more trade power. We're up to 76 trade power in Shealand alone. We're going to be doing the same here. We're going to upgrade this to level 2, get it a little bit of development too, and then after change this from encourage development to protect trade in 1 year when we're able to. We want to get up to 15 so we can expand infrastructure. That again doubles down on our trade power a tiny bit, so we went up from 9 to 21 trade power as a consequence of these upgrades, and it's going to get even more once we switch to the protect trade edict, of course. If you thought Norwegian is safe from assimilation, you thought wrong. We're going to be making Norwegian Swedes also. Like I said, I really don't want to have to stress about any sort of rebellions ever. We might as well just make everyone Swede since it is so freaking cheap. Most of these provinces, again, are literally 3, 4, 5 development, so I am burning a little bit of tax development whenever I see here to make it even cheaper. This war also made me realize I forgot to build the forts I wanted to. The one in Inari and the one in Tavastland, so we don't need to stress about our provinces getting sieged or having high devastation, since the fort also will lower devastation significantly fast. It's funny, but I actually have more problems dealing with the rebels here, which have more troops than the Muscovites. I'm saying funny, but it really is just freaking sad. I probably should take the entire area here by the line with the Lithuanians, but at the same time, maybe then what happens is the hordes attack them and so on. So the point is just take whatever you can, and then we'll come back for more when the truce is over, because at this point, it really is just free real estate in the east. We do have a lot of extra crownlands, so maybe I can sell some titles, seize some crownlands, and also give out the plus 100 governing capacity, so we're not over the governing capacity anymore, and of course also pour up everything. Now take note, if we do this particular event and the copper mine is already level 2, then we do not get the free upgrade to level 2. This is basically spending 1,000 less to upgrade it to level 2 instead of spending 2,500. So what we need now is just the development. That's it. What I'm going to do instead of upgrading the Gdalaskogan mine, I'm going to upgrade the Visba city, because this one at level 3 gives domestic trade power plus 25% globally, which is pretty freaking huge. I'm going to continue to redo the fortifications in my land. We're going to get a castle in Tioharad, delete the one in Kalmar. This way we have basically control over all the southern provinces, and we're going to do the same into the north. I'm actually not sure yet. I'm thinking either Dalaskogan or one in Bergslagen and another one in Oplandia. I think the second one would probably be a little bit better. Yeah, let's go with that. Bergslagen first and then Oplandia. We've also constructed the ports, so now we got trade efficiency plus 20%, which means we're making absolute bank. That also means it's time to get a light ship, which has trade power per ship and fleet, movement speed, and that's it. I don't think I'm going to use anything else. Call it Swedish Kebab pizza, classic, and sprinkle a few extra light chips on the side here. Oh, would you look at that? We get a secondary colonist. By the way, if you want to cheese this mission, you literally can just send your colonist and bring them back. You just need to have 5 colonies being colonized. You don't need to finish the colony, so you technically can get 2 colonists literally from the moment in which you send your ships to Bergenhus, which should be owned by you, right? Simple as that. Oh, the Protestant Reformation. Oh, beautiful. That's actually really early. I've been getting really late Protestant Reformations in my current, my previous games, which kind of sucked because I want it as soon as possible, right? Now, that does mean we are getting the Dacia War because average state core province autonomy is less than 25 or 10%. So we'll trigger in 4 years, and that sucked. I also had the event which made it cheaper to upgrade monuments, so I'm going to take advantage of that and upgrade this church as well. Since I've taken Bornholm, which was the last holdout of the Danes, we can now do finally the fall of Denmark, which means we get a level 2 center of trade in Scania, Halle freaking Luya. I believe separatism should be gone by now from these areas, so let's go ahead and convert them also to Sorvedas. Once we do Kola, we can do another one of our missions again, which will allow us to develop forested provinces for a lot cheaper after we give the privilege out, so we should be able to develop Dalaskoven for basically nothing mana-wise. Seeing as I need a lot more ships, I'm also going to be spamming some shipyards. We want to have a fleet of at least 200 ships to maximize and capitalize on all the trade on the Baltic, Lubeck, and Novgorod. The disaster has triggered, but luckily for us, we've been stacking up a buttload of stability point, or better yet, mana points. So now once we get rid of these couple of rebels left and right, we should be able to very much so quickly finish the civil war, or better yet, the Dacia War. Curious what Dacia means. Is that like a peasant war or something? I would assume it means like a peasant war, doesn't it? We got a gift for, oh, that's so cute of Trier. They're so nice, man. Go ahead and barrage this and assault it. I don't have time for this schnitzel, man. Just give me that so we can restore order finally. There you go. Now we can also do integration of the Sami people, which, like I said earlier, gives a very special privilege. The forest expansion. Basically, it reduces the development cost of every owned province by 15% and every woods province by 10%. That is actually pretty massive because we literally only have woods and forests. That's it. The whole freaking country is just that. So check it out. Developing Dalaskogan is only 28 power. Let's go ahead and spam the schnitzel out of this button, shall we? Alright, boys, it's time for a brand new Vasalski. It's time for Volgasticum to become our second subject. So that way we got 2 subjects, which means we can give the strong duchies privilege, meaning we're not over diplomatic relation slots anymore, finally. And it also means we can attack Monsieur Staaten. The Staatenski is Bagagadzezi, because they have our course. But the reality is, I did not attack because of that. I'm a scumbag. I attacked because I actually want to attack the Livonian Order. And they're allied to the Poles. So me attacking them now when the Poles are fighting in my war means I can take all their shit without having to fight the Poles. So that's it, boys. I am an actual freaking shkagabagadabugudo. The Ottomans are attacking. They're at Vienna. Where are the Poles? Not gonna end up well for them, is it? Also, I'm gonna be accepting Muscovites and Danishmen as my accepted cultures, because I will not be converting Danish people to my culture yet, nor will I at any point convert Muscovites, because there's a lot of them. Doing that, though, allows me to do the City of the Rust, which means I can accept 2 more cultures. All right, ladies and gents, we have Weebland. I'm not saying that because all Canadians are fucking weebs. That's not why I'm saying that. Oh my god, there's even more free real estate. Apparently again because of the Poles. What is up with Poland? Oh, they took land. Of course they did. Sons of bitches. I am so upset right now. The Great Horde also took land. Man. We gotta take the city of Riga and Livonia ASAP. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Rush B, rush B. Okay, so we're gonna be fully annexing the Regans because I want to. It's still not enough aggressive expansion, so we can take all of the Livonian lands. Look at that. Aggressive expansion wise, it's still okay. That means we can do window to the east, upgrade the center of trade in Riga by 1 level, and of course we can also do a land of the Prussians because we have 5 out of the minimum 6 provinces we need here. Boom. Now to do these 2, we just need some more provinces in, you guessed it, Bromerania, and then we gotta occupy Hansa. That means we're gonna be able to do Stormaskakadegadu, which turns us into the Scandinavian Empire. Ooh, that sounds exciting. By getting the entire coastline under our control, which is actually not that difficult, we only need a few provinces left. We get years of separatism and monthly splendor increase. Okay, that's not too bad. Until the end of the game. That's, oh my god, until the end of the game, years of separatism reduction? Ooh, Brother, I'm telling you, they made this country way too overpowered. Let's go ahead and core up everything, and let's give all of these lands over to my beloved subject, Vulgos. Take all the money as well. And again, coalition-wise, nobody gives a schnitzel because after all, these are cores that we're feeding back here. We do still need, I believe, one more province to give to our subject, Volgas. Man, I love selling titles at this point in the campaign. We literally just made 2,000 ducats out of thin air, which means we can do this mission, of course, and that way we upgrade the Dalaskogan mine to level 2, change by 1 level, and we also have a chance of getting some production, tax, or manpower development. Not even going to bother with the other options because they're not important. Booyah shaka, boys. 6 local goods produced is the equivalent of 30 production. It's like having 40 production development in this province right now. Check it out. From Dalaskogan alone, we're making 8 ducats production-wise. Holy schnitzel, bro. The age of reformation is finally here, so we can do the centralization reforms of Gustav Vasa. Till the end of the game, we get autonomy, a change minus 0.5, and we get a ton of other development spread around the world. We also can do a Finnish relations. Oh my god, I forgot about the Finland does not exist. Oh no! I need to have 5 owned provinces with 10 development that are Finnish. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. No. I mean, this only leads to the Haka Piki Piki. I'm not gonna bother, okay? I don't care about the Haka Piki Piki cavalry anyway. The important bit is getting level 5 government reform to enact the allotment system of Sweden, which is gonna give us access to the Carolean, the most overpowered units in the campaign. What a surprise! Swedish developer puts the most powerful units as Sweden. Who'd have thought? I was not able to grab too much out of the Muscovites before the Golden Horde managed to take the majority of the Muscovite land, so I'm only taking 2 provinces. This is sad because I'm assuming the Golden Horde is flat out just gonna annex everything else here now. Of course, they leave me with literal border gore. So we managed to grab most of Eastern Europe and all of Scandinavia, got ourselves around the Baltic, and we've got the strongest economy in the game. So we're pretty much set for the religious wars of the next part. Love you and take care of yourselves.